Give me a little bit. Excellent condition. Okay.
Do you have a link to the live stream you can send me?
That's a good question.
I see in the top right there's an arrow next to end stream.
Yep. Oh, I should have done this. Oh, I know I need to. I'm going to stop sharing my screen with you. That should save some of my bandwidth.
Okay.
And here's the link. There you go. Yeah, I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Yeah, it looks like it's working.
Excellent. Okay, well, I guess we are on. So, welcome, Ash, and welcome, potential viewers. I say potential because this is my first YouTube stream, and I don't know if we did everything right. So we're gonna do a little bit of playing on here. I apologize; it'll probably be annoying, but let's have some fun. So, welcome, Ash. How are you doing today?
Thanks, Dragon. Yeah, I'm doing all right. Yeah, just thought of some questions to mull through with you about Hex and the pulse sacrifice phase that we're in, and making sure we're on the same page with our strategy for it. And yeah, I'm excited about preparing for it and waiting for big payday number 2.
Right. Oh my gosh. Cool. Okay. Well, so what happened? Oh my gosh, what happened? That is pretty crazy because a lot of people will have no idea what we're even talking about. So I'm going to open up this to show everyone what happened last night. So right here, So we have this hex sacrifice phase going on right now, or rather, hex sacrifice. That's pretty accurate, actually. Um, we are sacrificing our tokens to make a political statement that we don't want to pay high fees and that blockchain is freedom of speech. So anyway, you get credited for the amount you sacrifice. It's a strategy going on right now that people are buying hex, hoping that that will cause the price of hex to go up, so we make quick gains before sacrificing so we get more credit. Well, last night, right at the end of the sacrifice, a whale, and a whale is somebody who has a lot of crypto, a whale decides to dump on us. So it starts happening, people start FOMOing, and then he just dumps 21...
And that means fear of missing out, right?
What?
That means fear of missing out?
Yes, thank you. And then he just drops 21 million hex right here, bringing the price all the way down to 7.5 cents from about 16.5 cents. And this was crazy because we've never seen a dip like this in really, I don't know about in history for all crypto, but in hex. And it says a lot. So a lot of people are going to be freaked out, and they're like, I don't want hex. And I think this was actually part of the strategy. Was one of the things that is fun right now is we see these people who keep dipping or dropping the price. They're called plebs or noobs or weak hands. And what they're doing is they're cashing out of hex early, and they're doing so in a way that's rude to the community. If you sell a bunch really fast with no limits or whatever, I mean, the price just collapses, and that looks like a bad thing to do. And this is what we see happening with like big projects also sometimes. So, or all these scam coins and that kind of stuff, because there just wasn't enough liquidity to, or enough people buying to actually buy up all the hex in that moment. So he was able to just keep selling it lower and lower and lower, and change the price to make the price look like something really low. And I don't know how far he was trying to go, but they got to 7.5 cents. So we had more than it was a 57% drop. And the thing is, this is what's cool, is instead of creating that fear, so this was any other crypto. Remember that Hex started at like 0.00000 some cents, so it was really small. So this dropping to 7.5 cents was still over 1,000x gain. So this whale still made 1,000 times their return on their investment for getting back all the way down to 7 cents. So they made money the entire way down as people bought this up. But instead of causing a cascading effect of getting other people to be like, oh shit, Hex is over, let's get out, what you see happening in Bitcoin, what you see happening in Ethereum, we had the fastest gain in recovery. Within a 10-minute period, we were back up to 10 cents. And then another 10-minute period, we got up to 12 cents. Another 10-minute period, we got up to 12.5. And now we're at, then we got up to 14 cents. Now we're back down to this 11, 12 cent period. So that says a few things. One is that we basically discovered what Hex's new floor is. And that's around 12 cents, I think. Which, by the way, is 50% higher than we were a week ago. So that's really cool, is that the community has enough faith in this coin. They immediately bought it up, brought the price back up. It doesn't even look like, if you zoom out, that even ever happened. It looks like we dipped down to 12 cents. But what does this mean? Well, yeah, actually, let me pause for a second, Ash. I want to give you a chance to ask any clarifying questions or any other comments on what I've already said.
Sure. Well, I thought the dip was interesting. I guess I'm sort of coming from a classical economics mindset where I'm thinking about through the pulse sacrifice period, I think as of Sunday there was like 1.1 billion hex sacrificed,
Mm-hmm.
and then as of now there's like I think it's almost like 2.5 billion. And so, in terms of classical economics, if you have a decrease in supply, then you'd imagine that the price would increase. Conversely, if the demand decreases, that also could drop the price. So I'm wondering if there was sort of a buildup in people buying Hex because they were like preparing to immediately sacrifice it in the pulse sacrifice phase, and then maybe there's like I haven't looked through the logs to see if the data backs this up, but I'm wondering if there's so many people unloading Hex in the first 5 days of the sacrifice period that now there aren't as many people buying Hex. So since there's a less of a demand, maybe now there's that could explain some of the price drop. But so yeah, just trying to figure out like what economic forces are working to cause the drop and then the rise again.
That's a really good point. It definitely could be something like that. Combination. It's funny that it happened though. Well, we know that the 21 million hex came from 3 different wallets at the same time. And they did it at the very end of the sacrifice, which they knew how to sell that much hex. So if they were trying to make money, they would have had a limit order where they wouldn't sell under a certain price. So what I think we're seeing is that this is a game, and this is a whale game, and that is somebody who understands mass psychology. They were getting people who had weak hands, who were trying to wait for this like potential bump that everybody was talking about. Oh, maybe last minute it's been the best time to get in because we're gonna have this big spike in what it's worth, and so everybody was holding on. So that guy said, "No, screw that. You're not gonna ride my wave. So I'm gonna dump a bunch of hex on y'all, drop the price, and see what you do." And some people sold during this collapse. They sold. That's a lesson that you're gonna have to learn. Is that hex is not a cryptocurrency that you trade. It's not one that you sell when the price is going down. You try buying when the price is going up. If you do that, you're going to get wrecked. You're going to miss out on so many opportunities. If you sold, for example, at 8 cents yesterday, and then you're like flabbergasted, that's already back to 12 cents. You just buy back in now at a 50% loss. And Hex moves like this. It generally goes up in a 50%, 100%, 200, or 300% increment within a matter of hours or days. So if you're not already bought in and sitting there, you can miss these doublings that happen. So that's just a little bit about the pattern of the coin, is that because Hex is volatile right now, it shakes out weak hands, it shakes out short-term thinking people, and it's designed to teach people delayed gratification, and it's designed to teach people to hold, and it incentivizes people who hold and keep the price. It penalizes those that don't. But I do think your classical economic analysis is completely valid. I mean, that's a really good point. And it could be that. But if we weren't in this... So it could be that. And it could be something else. The reason I think it was whale games is because, again, we know it was from 3 accounts that caused that behavior.
And you said that was like 20 million hex that was unloaded?
21 million, I believe it was.
Okay. And, I mean, compared to like the scale of, how much those whales have total, that's probably like a drop in the bucket. So there's the potential for them to really drive up the price if they sacrifice a lot.
That's exactly what we're waiting for. Is we were just given a lesson in what hex manipulation can look like and what to look for. So I've been asking for people to keep an eye on this to help alert me when we have a giant spike. And this is what a lot of us were waiting for. So this is what one whale doing a little bit of manipulation can do to the hex market. So he cashed out probably about $1 million US dollars. We know that there are whales that have tens to hundreds of millions of dollars worth of hex. So they sacrificed 1% of their pool to cause this price drop. And they could have just bought it back even, like, or whatever. So it was like nothing. So yeah, I'm curious what's going to happen when they buy up. Now, obviously, they can't buy up with Hex, so they're going to have to buy with other things like Ethereum. There's somebody who's being talked about called the God Whale, who now has about 80,000 Ethereum. And
How much Hex is that?
let's calculate that real quick. So we're going to use a program called Matcha. This is a good... Ethereum. Let's go ahead and say we pay 50,000 Ethereum. That is 55 million X. Yeah. So we did 100 million. So this is interesting.
What is the? Oh, go ahead.
So 100,000 Ethereum will get you 57 million hex, but I don't think that's right.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right to me.
Because look, 50,000 will get you 55 million hex. So this is the other thing is what's available. 25,000 will get you 51 million hex. There's probably only about 50 million hex available right now. So it's getting exponentially more expensive to buy a little bit extra at the end. So they can buy out the pool.
Interesting.
10,000 will buy you most of that. Because there's limit orders out there.
Yeah.
So people have limit orders.
Because if he just did this, if he did the just equivalent, translating the current values, then it would be much different. But this is taking into account the liquidity and what's available in the market.
Yeah. So if we were to calculate and say that the price was stable, we do, I'm just going to round, but let's say he has 75,000 Ethereum left. And he's not going to sell all his Ethereum. He's a smart whale.
Yeah.
Times 1,800 is a number that... Alright. So that's about $135 million in Ethereum. He just donated $20 million, by the way. Or sacrificed $20 million.
So was it $20 million or Hex?
$20 million.
Okay.
So he's the number one in the leaderboard right now already.
Nice.
So he might not do anything else, by the way. Like, we don't actually know that he's going to be greedy and try and become, like, a super whale. He's already a whale. But...
How do you go bigger than God Whale?
Being, like, super greed, man. Alright, I have to widen this so we can see what number that is. So yeah, that'd be almost 800 million hex. Is what he could buy it at current price, or at 17 cents. But there's only, like, again, like 50 million available. So, to double the price or any of those kinds of things, it won't take much.
Hmm.
So we'll see what happens. If that happens.
That's a great explanation for why small, seemingly small like purchases or sells can make a big different impact on the price.
Yeah.
Like if you compare the transaction price to the overall market cap, it may seem insignificant, but if you compare it to what's available, then it can make a big impact.
Right. And that's what is making Hex so much better than all these other cryptocurrencies because Hex is not on an exchange. If you're on an exchange, they do fractional reserves. They will sell you Hex or crypto that they don't have, and it's just in their accounting books. So if we were on Coinbase and half our users were on Coinbase and they make bought and sold, they wouldn't affect the price at all. So by Hex actually being
Interesting.
decentralized and not on any exchanges, the users are actually affecting the price. So we're seeing the actual price. It's one of the only currencies I'm aware of that's true for. I'm sure there's many others that are not on any exchanges where you have that, but that's where the other game mechanics of Hex come in to make it better.
Yeah. And I think the certificate of deposit mechanics wouldn't work if it wasn't like that. Like if it was able to be fractionally reserved, then it would undermine and that that power that it has.
Yeah. Now, the other thing is that right now, I would make a couple of interesting arguments that it might be okay later. It probably would never be good, but I think it would be okay. Because as we get more users, that's going to make the price go up. So it's estimated that we might have $400 Hex next year.
Wow.
And
that'd be awesome.
yeah, so when it gets that big, like it takes more and more buying power to shift it.
Mm-hmm.
So right now it's a unique opportunity that we're not going to keep seeing. So we might have just seen the biggest dip in history for Hex because it's still small enough that it can be influenced by millions of dollars. We're just talking millions of dollars. There's lots of people who have millions of dollars in the world. If you tried buying $1 billion of Hex, you would. So it was calculated if somebody bought like $100 million of Hex, the price would go to almost $10,000 a Hex.
But do you know how much Hex is in the ecosystem at the moment?
Yeah.
Well, I know. Yeah.
I think if we go to Nomics.
Uh-huh.
So our total volume of that's dollars. Where's the coins? So we have 573 billion coins. How much of that is staked? I'm not sure. I think I know we have 10% staked, about 50% in the OA. I mean, we only have $8 million staked. So we had somebody just dump about like 12% of the total stake pool, like in a few minutes. It's crazy.
Wow.
That's the other thing, is that we actually could sit at 12 cents for a little while. Like, what we had happen was, like, we had a real price discovery, because this is what happens every single time. We have the spike, and then we're followed by 30 to 50% decor cents, followed by a dip of 3.9. It's like a 40% drop. And then Next big one was like here. We topped at 9.5 cents, dipped all the way down to 6.9. So we're getting these consistent 30% adjustments after we hit a new top. So
Interesting.
16 down to 12. It's about 30%. That's 40. Yeah, about 30%. So this is what I think we'll also see. And a lot of people try making money on this down wave. So if you did sell at 14 cents, 15 cents, 13 cents, you're making money right now if you bought it back up. But at every one of these, like if you try that, that's great. But sometimes you hit this and then you sell here. It's like, oh, it's good. Like, okay, we just hit a new top of 6. Okay, I'm going to sell as we're going down. You're like at like 5 cents, expecting it to go down to like 4.5 cents. And instead, it goes up to 9 cents. And then never comes back down to the lowest is now 7.5 cents. So that's how people get wrecked. Is they think they were having another drop, and it's actually not. And they just
Speaking of that, I just got an alert that Hex rose 5.9% in the last 5 minutes.
All right, well, let's check this out. So yeah, we got. I'm gonna switch to 1 minute. I'm gonna see what's happening.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in Hex for the long haul. What?
Yeah, we're up to. Is this right? This isn't right. We're at 15.7 cents now. Oh, this is too slow to update. $13. Let me refresh this. It might have just been on Uniswap. Uniswap's pools, some of them are smaller. So Matcha is better, and 1 inch is better because they pull from a lot of other pools. I have too much stuff running. All right. So yeah, 13.1 cents from a bottom of 11.6. So yeah, right now people should be making a lot of money because I think that 16 cents is actually are going to be our new floor. After we hit 16 cents again, I don't think we'll see 15 again. And yeah, because you look here, like bottom about 14 and a half, 14 and 15 cents. Like right here. So we tested it once, twice, 3 times. When we go through that again, we're probably not coming back. And this could be, again, a rise to our 20 to 30 cent mark. Which is just always so crazy when it happens. Every time, it's just, all right, new all-time highs. So great. So great. But last night I was listening to Discourse Syndicate on my drive. And they were just doing like sack and chill, and it was great because like they're all like, worst case we don't sack and we got our hex.
On your cryptocurrency alerts, do you have it set to Uniswap, all markets, or market average?
A couple of different things. The 5% one's Uniswap.
Okay.
I have all markets for calling me.
Okay. Cool. Oh, so would this be maybe a good time while we just saw a spike to prepare for anticipating a big top?
It's always a good time to prepare for it.
All right. So one thing I wanted to see if you could give me some clarity on is on the pulsechain.com website. Uh, there's the line about that explains how the USD value is calculated for like the snapshot you sacrifice your coins, your
Yes.
tokens.
Yeah.
To quote it, it says the USD value of sacrifices are estimated using 30-minute time-weighted average prices where convenient. And
Wait, did
I
I have this
wasn't
as
quite
red?
sure how to interpret that. What's that?
Hang on, let me find it. Where?
Yeah. Let's see. Let me see which section it's in. It's pretty near the top. It's near the end of sacrifice details section.
Okay.
It's like the second to last paragraph there. At the end of the second to last paragraph.
So, I didn't hear this myself, but I heard that Richard Hart says, this is hearsay, but he said in his video, so we can verify it later, that he might have to end up changing it to a full day instead of being 30 minutes for fairness. So he might actually be taking out some of these game mechanics, which I think would upset some people. But we'll see. So, if 30 minutes is true, let's for now assume it is, then like sacrificing here would be the average. So if you sacrifice it at that bottom, but then went immediately back up here, I think you would probably get like a 10-cent sacrifice instead of an 8-cent sacrifice.
For some reason, I'm not able to see your screen share.
Do you see anything right now?
Let's see. Well, I have the. Well, just a bit of a delay because I'm watching the live feed on a different device, so I'm not sure if it's from now or before. I think it's working. Can you show where we're pointing at again?
All right, so right here, these are 10-minute blocks. Let me change this to 15-minute blocks. So I can't. 5-minute blocks or candles. So like right here we have this candle. So this time the average price was 7.5 cents. Then we had 9.6 cents. Then we had 10 and 11. And before that we had 11 also. So we would take those three numbers, or sorry, those 6 numbers, and average them together. We'd probably get something around like 11 cents. So if you sacrificed right here, for example, like, oh, it's going down, I'm going to sacrifice it at 12 cents. Then you're like, fuck, we're at 7.5 cents. Like, oh no, that sucks so much. But then people bought it up, so the average wouldn't be so bad. Same thing with the opposite, by the way. This is going to be the challenge of trying to create an artificial top. Is that if you do it really fast, it's great. But if it only stays there for a minute, dividing that by 30 is going to be much less.
Yeah. So when he says 30-minute time interval, I'm assuming like every 30 minutes it's sort of like a step pattern where each 30-minute interval will have an average price, and then whichever interval your sacrifice timestamp happens to be in, that'll be the average price that you're in.
That's definitely an interpretation that I also share with you. In my opinion, it'd be great if they could do it where you take the previous 15 minutes and the next 15 minutes, but I think that there's like these snapshots that happen every 30 minutes that the data would be pulled from. So if somebody understood that and they were away and they wanted to make sure nobody else got on their wave, they would do it, the pump and sack at the end of that 30-minute interval, and then leave everybody else. So what that means for us, without knowing that, is if we see a big rise, we need to start sacrificing some. So if we
Yeah.
hit like 20 cents, I'm going to sacrifice some. If it keeps going up, that's great. But I'll sacrifice more. So that is one of the strategies, is just sacrifice on the big candles. And what that looks like, by the way, is it has this big wick on it. So if there's more supply there or whatever, it could have gone up higher for that price.
Mm-hmm.
So they were willing to pay up to that. And you can see that there's been some really big ones. Like this one could have gone to like 17.5 cents. But it only ended up making it to 16.5. So it's going to require like a bigger whale to do it. And back here, first day, we had, I think it actually hit topped at like 20 cents.
So another question I have related to that is, like, within the 30-minute interval, if that is what ends up still happening, like, I wonder how often, like, how many points in time are used in the average? Because if it's like, let's say they divide it into 30, you know, like they look at the price at each minute, you know, that's one way of doing it. But then also, like, I mean, they could look at the price every 5 minutes. So then, and like the more times they use, the less impact a short spike will have. But, like, for example, if a spike lasts like 1 minute, like a huge spike, like, you know, 10,000% or something, and then, you know, but it's only 1 out of 30, then it won't have much impact. But if they look at the price every like 5 minutes, then it would have a bigger impact. So I'm wondering, I mean, I don't know if anyone knows that, but I'm wondering.
But I don't. But what I think we're looking for is this pattern right here. See what I'm mousing over?
Will you explain what you're looking at?
Yeah. So it's a green candle after 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 a green candle. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There's 14 green candles, and then they're maintaining the price.
Okay.
So for another like 15 minutes. So they were able to like, actually they did it for 30 minutes. So this is a 30-minute window where the price is maintained.
Yeah.
And I think, like, again, if they're doing this rise, they're going to probably make it more stable around like 17 cents or something, and then make it go high and try and hold that price, because they need to hold that price to get that benefit too. If they just have one big candle and then it comes right back down, that's not going to they're not going to lock in anything. So it is good they're doing it that way, because it's allowing more people to benefit. It's making it a little bit more real, and it reduces market manipulation some, because it's making it so that only whales can do this, which is. And the thing is for a whale to do that, they are feeding the community, because they're going to be buying, they have to buy expensive HEX.
Yep. What is the timestamp of that area you're looking at? It's a little too small on my screen to see what the date and time is. Of that rally.
Yeah, I don't see which date it is, because it's zoom out a little more. The 20th at from 5:20 to like 6:30.
Okay, so that was this morning, right after the big dip. Okay.
Yeah, that was like the recovery basically that we saw.
Yeah.
And so I think that what we're looking for is going to be something similar to this, although it'll probably be much more spiky. So let's see if I can find some other good examples because they've done this before. So here's a good one. On the wait, what date? We don't want to go back. Yeah, the 16th is there's another pretty good one. It's just like up, 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 up. But this is all. This is potentially like people coordinating together, which would have been another. I mean, if we had millions and millions of dollars, we could have. We could buy it up and have benefited that way also. But frankly, we're still too new to a lot of this, and I'm just hoping that our group buy bonus is good enough to make everybody really happy. So.
Yeah. And I think, like, waiting for either a plateau or like a slight dip after a big rally might be advantageous for, for waiting to jump on the sacrifice. Because it might be, it's hard to know how high it's going to go, like how much it might spike, and especially with like the weighted average, it might help to wait a little bit after, like right after it, to in case it uses the last 30 minutes. It's hard to know what the technicalities of it are, but
Well, also, here's the other thing: is that when you do your sacrifice, how long does it take to hit?
yeah, that's true. That's another thing, because processing time, does it take the snapshot when?
It's not when you submit; it's when it hits.
I don't know. I mean, there's no centralized. What's that?
Yeah, it'll be when it lands on the blockchain. So we're gonna have, if a lot of people are trying to do this sacrifice at the same time, the network's gonna get busier, and some people are gonna get kicked to the next block.
So
Whatever.
probably best to jump on our intuition and set a high gas price.
Yes, definitely do high gas price, and I probably do. Yeah, as soon as you see it, and that's why I'm not doing all of mine at once. So we'll see. I have a couple other strategies in place, which I think other people do also, that actually is going to help hedge our bets for if and when this happens. I don't want to tell everybody that because it can ruin the game also.
Yeah.
I think there's already too many people doing that, which is interesting. So basically,
too many people
there's people who
sharing or using that strategy?
Trying to create a ceiling, and whales have to bust through the ceiling. So that ceiling can be made really hard. Too hard if too many people are too greedy doing it together. And that will just discourage a whale from trying to break through the ice. So I think that we're going to see a lot more whale games to try and change some people's minds and to get people out. To maybe think it's not going to happen. And it might not happen to the last few days, and that sucks for us because we have the group bonus. So if we miss our group bonus, we get a full-on penalty, and if this doesn't happen, well, then we're just keeping our HEX. So, yeah. I have another 30K I really want to sacrifice soon to for our group buy. but then a lot more that people are kind of wanting to save for a moonshot. But if that doesn't happen, I think we'll be happy holding our hex. Now I have no idea what's gonna happen to Pulse price either. That's the other thing. Is like I don't really know what the right play is. Is like how good is new Pulse gonna? How expensive will new Pulse be? How cheap will it be? Will it cost less? Will people end up FOMOing that also and be like, they actually end up selling it for less than they paid for it? Like, because we have another doubling or two doublings before Pulse launches, that means we did better holding our hex than we did going into Pulse later. So there's so many variables. So being diversified is the answer.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I guess I don't understand how the value will work out with like the 10,000 multiplier with sacrificing, because that's just like a whole new. I mean, that it doesn't really tell me anything about its inherent value, but it tells you how much you'll be able to get with the sacrifice compared to the airdrop, which is what will happen later when Pulse actually launches. So
Well, kind of. And
I feel like even without a group buy, there's a huge benefit with the 10,000 multiplier.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, we'll see. And the thing is, though, is that's like not guaranteed you're going to get one pulse per point. It might be more, but it also might be adjusted because that was like the minimum. I don't remember now, but yeah, it's just made proportional to all the volume that's created for how much there's going to be. So if there's a limited pool, your points will just give you that percentage of the whole pool. So I don't think it's going to be 10,000 to $1 exactly for Pulse. It might be more or less.
Yeah, I wasn't imagining it would be like 10,000 to $1, but just like.
Because I think what they want is they want 10,000 Pulse per Ethereum. That's the end goal.
Okay.
Because we want to, yeah, that is, so to be clear, the intention of Pulse is to 10,000x the current supply of Ethereum. So we're diluting the Ethereum on here. So no, we're not buying Ethereum for $1. I don't think. Maybe we are. I don't know.
Yeah, a big part of that is how popular Pulse will be.
I guess we could calculate it, actually, if I think about that. So, yeah, we have all the data we need to figure out what how much there's going to be and then what its current value is. So, we go to Nomics. So this is interesting. This is weird. This is really weird. Let me think about this for a minute. Okay, so Ethereum. We have 100 million Ethereum. Times 10,000. I need to turn on decimals.
So it'd be 100 billion.
Yeah. Now.
Oh no.
No, it's going
1
to be
trillion.
It would be 100 times it would make it 100 million. Right? No, 1,000. Yeah. 10,000 is going to be 1 trillion. So we're going to have about 1 trillion.
Yeah, 1 trillion.
1 trillion pulse. Divided by, currently we have about a $500 million sacrificed. So, it's the opposite. be a negative. What? Oh, that's why. Okay. Billion, million, thousand, hundred. Okay. If I missed a zero, this math is going to be off by a factor of 10. Alright, so we're looking at each pulse being worth 0.0004 cents times 4. So $4 per 10,000 is, if my math is right, which it might not be, will be the market value at launch right now. So if we bought it for less than that,
Yep.
we're making money immediately.
Yeah.
So that's the math that we should look at. So how much are we paying? 10,000. Right now we're paying less
Right.
than $1 because we're getting bonuses. We're paying
True.
like 60 cents or whatever per 10,000. Okay, that's really good to know. So what
Yeah,
that means is
great.
that in the next couple days, if I'm going to do a sacrifice no matter what, even though it's going to be small, it's going to kind of suck. Because it wouldn't have been as big, but it's still going to be worth more.
Do you know if the airdrop will work for staked coins too?
Oh, wait. No, math. Okay, ignore what I said. We're not buying 10,000.
Okay.
We're not buying 10,000. How does this work? Because we're not guaranteed 10,000 per dollar, right? We get a share.
Well, it's.
Of the
I mean,
total
it's.
pool.
Yeah, it's like points. So I'm not exactly
Right.
sure how it
We
works
get a
out.
share of the total pool, so that we know what the total pool is, and we can know what our share is.
Yeah.
So getting a bonus is what we want. So the bigger the bonus we get per dollar, that's really how we're going to benefit. Is yeah. So people are going to be confused when they get their coins because they're going to get less coins than they think they should. If they think they get 10,000 per dollar, which they're not getting.
Yeah. And do you know if for the airdrop, will it take into account staked coins too?
Yes.
Okay. Great.
Yeah. You're talking about the HEX?
Yeah, for when it copies over what we have on Ethereum
The
network.
entire system state is copied, so all of your stakes will be copied. So
Okay, awesome.
Don't unstake anything.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I have quite a bit staked for like 4 or 5 years, and then I have a little bit for like 15 years.
I have a linear complete for every year, starting year 3.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it right now, and what I might do is whatever I don't sacrifice, I'm gonna stake differently because I'm going to wait until the fork, and then for PHEX, I'm gonna do lots of small stakes for like maybe the first year, and then some bigger ones. But then for the Ethereum, I'm just gonna do some bigger ones. I think maybe it was you. Somebody said that 15-year stakes might not even work on Ethereum. They're not certain it'll work. They calculated it should have worked, but now they're saying it might not. And who's they? They. Rumor. I don't know who it was. But,
What do you mean it won't work? Do you mean the gas price will be higher than the stake
well,
value?
the gas price is going to be about 5 Ethereum to unstake it. That was the
Mhm.
patch, so it could be 15 Ethereum if we don't change anything right now. There's 15 years. There's going to be a lot of adjustments happening. So we'll see. Um, I know that they tripled it recently,
Yeah.
but then the server load went down, so the gas prices have dropped by like a factor of 100, even though they tripled something else. And so we don't know what's going to happen in 15 years.
Because I think Ethereum 2.0 is planned for the next like couple years sometime.
Exactly. Yeah, like this 1, 2 years.
That yeah, and that'll be supposedly based on proof of stake instead of proof of work.
Yeah,
So that should help.
they do have a lot of challenges with that because they have so many miners, and like people, they're going to be hurting
Yeah.
that community. So
Yep.
yeah, it's a challenge doing all this, but what's also exciting is that when you have so Hex, Hex does a lot of really cool things. Hex, as far as I'm aware, has the best community, and that sounds subjective, but it's very active. They create all the products that are needed that we use and enjoy. Like, and they popularize lots of other things. So they're really active users. And Richard Hart isn't paying anybody except for the Pulse team to work on these projects. So all the advertising, everything you see is paid for by other Hexicans. And what that means is, though, is if somebody discovers, oh shit, we can't get our 15-year stakes, you know that we're going to be putting together teams of people to start solving these problems.
Hmm.
Because otherwise we're not getting paid.
Voluntarism at its best.
Yeah. So that's just another benefit of this of Hex. Is that it's encouraging cooperation, collaboration, and openness, because like these problems are hard to solve for one person. So
Yeah. Yep. And everyone benefits when there's like mutual benefit going on when it's partially self-serving, people wanting to support their own uh, positions, assets, but it helps everyone out because it's all the same system.
yeah, but having a centralized currency that we all agree to use also great because you get stability and this community and all these other benefits.
Yeah, I'm excited and I'm impressed by what the community's made and the momentum behind it and the tools that have been created, all the charting tools and all that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just thoroughly impressed with all parts of the coin, and yeah, I'm gonna take a quick break to use the restroom. So everybody wants to know that. Let me stop streaming. Do you have any last minute comments?
I don't think so. I think if it's okay with you, is it a good time to wrap up our
Yeah, we can wrap up now. I want to have
talk
another
today?
conversation on how Hex makes abundance and why I'm so excited about the coin and how I think it fits into a lot of the different projects that you and I have been discussing and working on. But we can do that another time.
Okay. Um, yeah, I think in a couple days, if you're around, that might be good. I'll be
Perfect.
available.
All right, sounds good.